was dumb. Tea is hot. I wonder what the saying of the day is. If you truly love nature, you will find beauty everywhere. Vincent van Gogh. I love that quote. That's like so perfect for me. Amazing. All right, so welcome back everyone. Thank you for joining me for another full day of eating video. My name is Derek from Simnett Nutrition, and today I'm gonna be doing this full day of eating a little bit differently. So yesterday I filmed all of my meals, my pre-workout meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then what I did today, or actually yesterday at the end of the day, I plugged everything into Cronometer to check out my macros and my nutrients and everything like that, see what I was hitting. And today I'm gonna be going over those meals and sort of narrating what I made and how I made it, and then also talking about the nutrients that I got from each meal. So I've plugged all my meals into Cronometer, which is a nutrient tracking app, so that we could see what sort of like macros and micros I'm getting on this plant-based diet. I don't generally track my food. I did when I first started becoming a vegan or started eating plant-based, because I wanted to make sure that I was covering all my bases, and I think it's really helpful for people to do that. So I'm gonna kind of go through today how you can sort of figure out your caloric needs, and then also, you know, show you what I'm eating and how I'm hitting like virtually all my RDIs. Hopefully today with this video, you know, I can put some of your minds at ease and show you that just eating like a, you know, balanced, varied, whole foods, plant-based diet, you can hit all the macros and micros that you need. The short of this video is you don't really have to worry too much about it. If you get enough calories from a variety of plant food sources, you're going to get enough protein, and you're likely gonna get enough of the other nutrients as well. But there are some of concern, and we're gonna go over those in this video as well. So anyways, a lot of words to just tell you, hey, let's check out the food I ate yesterday. I'm gonna show you guys the nutrients I get from it, and hopefully ease your mind about macros. So let's get into this. So if you have any questions that come up throughout the video and you wanna know something more specific, because I'm gonna be going over things pretty quickly, definitely leave your questions in the comment section down below, and I'll either try and get to them in the comment section, or I'll use them for an upcoming Q&A video, which I hope to do very soon. So let's start this day off. Here we go. So I always like to start my day with water, and I usually like to have warm water, especially in the wintertime. Like right now, I wake up and the house is freezing, and apparently my sweatshirt's stained. But yeah, that's what I always start with. And then if I know it's gonna be an hour or so until my workout, I really like to get in some of those beetroot crystals. Some people use beetroot powder. I prefer the taste of the crystals, but this is really great at helping with athletic ability, and it's really good for the pump. So if you go to the gym, having that an hour or so before is like really awesome. I'm also having like a quick pre-workout meal here, and it's just gonna be the classic peanut butter banana on some good whole grain sprouted bread. So whenever I pick out bread, I always like to try and have the first ingredient be whole grain flour. And that's usually a good way to figure out if a bread is gonna be like good and high in fiber and that sort of stuff. And you also wanna try and find one that is, you know, has minimal additives and like stabilizers and preservatives and those sorts of things. So yeah, just, you know, some natural peanut butter. Adams is just like so good. I always try and buy like organic most things, but man, there's just something so special about Adams peanut butter. I always find myself going back to it. But do try, if you are eating peanut butter, try and get away from that like Kraft peanut butter with a bunch of hydrogenated oils added to it and sugar and stuff. Like some peanut butter even has icing sugar added to it. And yeah, I wondered why I was like so in love with peanut butter when I was young. Well, now we know. So, oh yeah, I'm enjoying that. And usually I don't put the whole banana on the slice of bread just because it doesn't fit, but I always like to eat it as well, because bananas are such good energy before workout. I also sprinkled some hemp seeds on there as well. That's just to like bump up the omega-3 content of the day, a little bit of extra protein, and I just like them. So here we go. Got myself to the gym and just, you know, getting those pull movements in. Today was a pull day, so primarily pull focused. I was doing some muscle ups and some pull ups. And I always drink water during my workouts. I don't really have too many like intra-workout drinks that I have. Sometimes I'll have some BCAAs from Viva Life, but generally, you know, just water. Lance and weights, that's all it takes, baby. Getting in some curls, trying to build those buys. This is a really good movement I like as well. Can be a little bit hard on the chest if you're not used to it, but yeah. Look at the camera angles here, guys. Who else gives you these angles? Anyways, back home now, and I'm making my post-workout smoothie. So this is something that I've been having consistently since I started working out and eating plant-based. I've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years now, eating this. And if you guys want like exact amounts and everything, that is going to come at the end when we do the nutrient analysis. So a couple things I want to highlight. This, you guys might not know what this is. It's turmeric and black pepper that's really good for helping with like inflammation and just like overall health as well. This is ground flaxseed. It is the king of omega-3s in the plant world, so you want to have a good amount of flax every day, a tablespoon or 2. Got a scoop of plant-based protein powder in there as well. This is the Perform from Vivo Life. It is really nice, especially this salted maca flavor. I absolutely love it. I'll leave a link in the description box down below for my affiliate link and discount code. And then I've also got a little bit of creatine there. I usually have about 3 to 4 grams of creatine monohydrate in my post-workout smoothie as well. Sometimes I will, get off of the creatine for a couple weeks and just, kind of go au naturel, but I do find that it helps to give me a little bit extra strength, and it does like puff my muscles up a little bit too. So always a good thing. All about the vanity, you know how it is. So just blending this up in the Vitamix. If you guys are on the fence about getting a Vitamix and you can afford it, let me tell you, just go all in. You will not regret it. I've had this thing for like 8 or 9 years now, and I just hammer on it like constantly, and it has never ever let me down. So there we go. Look at this. Perfect pour, and that is one tasty post-workout smoothie. So we'll go over the nutrients of it at the end, but I'm just gonna quickly move on right now and show you guys what I made for lunch. So for lunch, I am making a tofu egg salad on a little bit of toast with some sauteed spinach. So I like to combine the extra firm and the soft tofu. These are the seasonings that I used for the tofu egg salad. The calamanak, or whatever it's called, namak, that is a slightly like sulfurous eggy tasting salt, and that really like helps to make the egg salad taste eggy. But if you don't want that, you don't have to put it in there. I've also got a little bit of vegan mayo and some green onions as well that are gonna be going in there. So what you wanna do to make this, it's so good. You can have it cold or warm, but I'm just using like half of a block of the soft tofu and probably about a third of a block of the firm tofu, and I just mix it up there with my hands, and then you just add all the seasoning, and you really have to kind of just figure out the flavors that you like and how you want it to taste, but I just add around a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of all of these. So if you're not familiar with turmeric, you might want to go a little easy on it in the beginning because it does have, a flavor that might be a little bit weird to you at first, but it gives some really good color, and there's so many incredible benefits to eating turmeric on a daily basis. Check it out if you are curious. Celery seed, I forgot to mention, this is a really nice one to put in there. Sometimes I'll put fresh chopped celery in as well, but when I don't have that, like today, celery seed is a great alternative. So here it is, the vegan mayonnaise. It's not something I use a lot, but I basically bought it just for this egg salad, and I'm trying to use as little of it as I can because this stuff is just basically a straight fat and not a lot of nutrition in there. So not something we want to have a lot of, but had about a half a tablespoon in there. And then I'm just cutting up the green onions really little, and those are really small. Those will get mixed in there as well. So I mix that up, and yeah, look at that. It looks and tastes so much like egg salad. And that was one of my favorite meals when I was younger, so it's really nice to be able to duplicate this now. So I'm just gonna saute a little bit of spinach and just spraying a little bit of the Bragg's soy seasoning on there, and then I'm also adding a little bit of garlic powder. This spinach actually turned out so good. I don't know what it was. It was just like the perfect amount of flavor and the perfect amount of cooking that it was just like so tender and so tasty. And I know a lot of people like worry, oh, are you gonna lose some nutrients by cooking the spinach or whatever? Like, the truth is, I'm not gonna eat a lot of spinach if it's raw, and if I cook it down, I can eat like 3-4 times more the amount of spinach. So then, the negligible amount of nutrient loss for me, I think gets made up in the amount that I'm eating. But I wouldn't even really worry about it. So I'm just trying to plate this nicely. Usually for these videos, I try and plate food a little bit nicer than I normally would. Usually I just like throw it on there, but you gotta do it for the views, for you guys. So there it is, almost all done. I'm just adding a little bit of this sea vegetable blend. So sea veg is a really good source of iodine. If you guys didn't know that, it's a good thing to have in your diet, especially if you're eating a lot of cruciferous vegetables, which we all should be. And I just have a little bit of fresh cut tomato on the side with some pepper. And there we go. That is that meal all done. And yeah, like I said, I took a bite of that spinach and I was like, dang, this is actually like way better than I thought. So yeah, just a really nice, you know, simple, warm, comforting meal that we're all familiar with. This is nothing crazy. So let's move on to dinner. All right, so for dinner, I am going to be making stir fry / bootable kind of thing. And this is something that I eat just about every single night for dinner. If I don't know what I'm gonna have, this is my go-to. So if you guys can get good at making stir fries and figure out what flavors you like together and what seasoning and spices to use, just keep some fresh veggies on hand all the time, and you know, figure out a good sauce, which I have lots of recipes on my channel for good sauces. You will be golden for dinner. Like, you can make it taste different every time. You can use up leftovers. It's just the best. So I'm just cutting up a bunch of veggies first. I do like to try and prepare as much of the food as I can before I start cooking. That way you're not like scrambling to try and chop stuff while stuff's burning on the frying pan, and you know, it just gets a little hectic sometimes. But if you're pressed for time, that's the best way, then yeah, you just go for it. So starting out by sauteing some onions and just adding a little bit of water for the old water saute. You guys that are not new to the channel will know I don't really cook with oil most of the time. Occasionally I will, but most of the time I don't. And that's just because I don't need to. I'm not lacking any healthy fats in my diet. I enjoy the flavor without oil. And yeah, to be honest with you, it's like pretty empty calories that we just don't need. I mean, so opened a can of lentils. So that's like a can and a bit of lentils in there as well. So while that is kind of finishing sauteing, I am also going to be making some sauteed bok choy. So started out by just sauteing some fresh garlic, and then just getting that bok choy wilted down. Bok choy is an incredible green. A lot of people overlook it. It's really cheap in the winter, which is nice compared to like lettuce and some other things that can get really expensive. And it is very high in calcium and also low in oxalates. So that means that we actually absorb most of that calcium that's in the food, which is a good thing. So yeah, think about bok choy next time you are at the store and you want to buy some greens. I just added some everything but the bagel seasoning to it. It's a really nice seasoning: garlic, onions, a little bit of salt, and some poppy seeds. Really good. So just prepared some veggies, like some fresh veggies for sort of the salad part of it. And here I am measuring out my food tediously. I never do this, but I did want to create, you know, an accurate representation of the day, so I did measure out my food today. Also cooked some white rice on the side. Forgot to show you guys that. And a lot of people are like going to be, Derek, why are you eating white rice? What do you hate, like nutrients or something? Well, no, it's not that at all. It's just, you know, when you're having a meal that is this nutrient dense, this much fiber in it, I don't think a little bit of white rice is too bad. And I really enjoy it. Sometimes I just need a good source of calories. And there we go. We got some white rice in there. Could have been quinoa, could have been brown rice. Have whatever you want in there. So hummus is an amazing condiment to keep on hand. And if you don't have any, you know how easy it is to make. So, you know, just chickpeas, tahini, lemon, salt, pepper, garlic. And then I made a little avocado flour to go in the middle. I just thought it needed something pretty in there. Made a little avocado flour. If you guys want to know how to make that, let me know. I can like maybe do it in another video, or maybe even in a Q&A. It would be kind of a fun interlude to show how to make that. So again, some sea vegetables on there. Great source of iodine. Get it in ya. And there we go. That is one beautiful looking meal. But it's looking a little dry, isn't it? So it needs some sauce. So I'm going to make a quick little tahini sauce. So I'm just starting with a couple tablespoons of hot water. It just helps the tahini to mix up. If you use cold water, it doesn't mix nearly as good. So then we've got the liquid gold tahini here, only the finest in this house. So if you guys know the YouTuber Healthy Crazy Cool, his name's Miles to me, a friend of mine, and yeah, he sent me some of that. So thank you so much, and it really is like the best tahini out there. A little bit of lemon in there as well. We've got a little bit of salt on the go. Got to get that in there if you enjoy salt. And I think I put in a little bit of maple syrup as well. I'm not sure if I saw that, but I did add a little bit of maple syrup. Mixed it up, realized it was too thin, so I just made like a whole bunch of it. But in the Cronometer at the end, I did kind of account for just what I ate, because I did make a lot of extra sauce there. Adding a little bit of extra Valentinas. Love hot sauce. And we also found this new hot sauce at the store just recently, and this is like a salsa verde. Anyways, it's really good, but super spicy. And dang, this meal was incredible. So there we go, full day of eating. That's everything I ate, and I hope it gave you guys some ideas. A lot of the time, if I don't eat those 3 full meals, I will snack during the day, but you know, it'll be something really simple, just like, you know, maybe toast and peanut butter if I haven't already eaten that day, some fruit. Yeah, just keep it simple. But I generally don't snack too much when I'm eating these big meals. All right, so here we are in Cronometer, and we've got all the food listed. So if you want to see the amounts and that sort of stuff, definitely like pause and check this out. I didn't put in absolutely everything. I didn't put in like all the spices, but you know, it just wasn't worth it for me to put it in here. I also didn't put in the salt because I wasn't really tracking that either. I just try and keep my salt limit as low as I can while still keeping my food like palatable and nice for me. So let's have a look here. Before we go into seeing how many calories and everything that I ate, I mean, it's good to know how many calories you're eating, but we need a baseline, like how many calories should I be getting? So we're gonna go over here to plantspace.org. You guys have seen me use this website before. This is Mike the Vegan's website, and there's some really helpful stuff on here, but the thing that I really like is the caloric requirements calculator. It's really easy to use. It's also a bit of a tongue twister. What you do here is you put in your weight. So I'm probably around 153 pounds or so right now. You put in your height. I'm probably, you know, around there, something like that. Probably around 37. Okay, we don't have to worry about those details. So my BMR is 1,562 calories. And then you go down here and you input the amount of exercise that you do. That right now, I'm honestly not all that active, and my workouts haven't been quite as hard as they should be. Just like, you know, I don't know, middle of winter, whatever. But I'd say moderate activity 3 to 5 times a week would be pretty good for me. So that would mean that I require 2,421 calories. And if you're a female of the same size, you require 2,164 calories. But again, this is gonna change for everybody. So anyways, now that we know that, we go back to Cronometer. And obviously if you're trying to gain weight, you're gonna wanna eat in a few hundred calorie surplus from there. And if you're wanting to try and lose weight, you're gonna wanna eat in a slight deficit. And if you're like me and you don't track, and you just kind of stay the same all the time, then you're probably going to be eating around your maintenance anyways. And I think that's totally fine. But as we move further down here, we can see my total calories for the day. And that is 2,475 calories. Perfect. So my macros, the big question, what are my macros? As you guys can see, this was a really normal day of eating. It wasn't anything unusual. I had a scoop of protein powder, but you know, it's something that I usually have, something I figured I'd throw in here. A lot of people that are working out, vegan or not, often have protein powder, so it's in here as well. But yeah, let's check out the macros. So we've got 20% of my calories coming from protein, 58 coming from carbohydrates, and 22% coming from fats. Now, this is just this day. I'm sure it's gonna vary a little bit, but this is very similar to how I eat on most days. So I guess you would say this is like a, you know, 20-20-60 split, or whatever you wanna say. I don't know what order they're supposed to go in, but yeah, 20% protein, 20% fat, 60% carbohydrates. I think that's pretty attainable for most people. A lot of people, when they come over from an omnivorous diet, like I mentioned earlier, they wanna try and get so much protein in, and I don't think that we need this much protein. Like, this is more than I thought I was getting. And you can see here, the total protein for the day was nearly 140 grams. Like, I assumed I was getting less than that. And then as far as carbohydrates go, I got almost 400 grams of carbs. This is 373 grams of carbohydrates that day. And that's one of the other like common questions that I get in my DMs and emails and I see on message boards is people saying, hey, I just went to a vegan diet, but I'm scared of all these carbs. I feel like this is probably going to make me gain weight. I've been taught that carbs are bad. What should I do? Like, how do I lower this number? Well, processed like carbohydrates, especially that aren't like fiber rich, yeah, we definitely want to limit those. But as far as carbohydrates coming from whole plant foods, it's not something that we need to limit. But we have to remember that most plant foods are made up of primarily carbohydrates. Like, take beans, for example. Beans are 75% calories coming from carbs. They're around, I think, 20% or 23%, something like that, protein, but 75% of those calories are coming from carbohydrates. We just don't want to be scared about food, right? I mean, processed food is pretty scary into itself, but you know, plant foods, whole plant foods, we don't want to be scared of carbs. So something cool I'll show you that you can do with Cronometer here is if you want to see how many calories you got, let's just say at breakfast, and you've already typed in the whole day. Well, what you do is you just hold shift and then you click on each of the items that you want like summarized, and then you go down and you can see, look at that, for breakfast, that post-workout smoothie, that was 848 calories with a macro ratio of 17% protein, 72% carbohydrates, and 11% fats. And then you can see all the other nutrients that I get from it. We'll go down and check everything else out. Like, look how much nutrition was in just that post-workout smoothie. That's pretty incredible. So whatever, here, really quickly, I will highlight all of the meals here. I'll do lunch as well, and then go down so you guys can kind of see the nutrients that I got from that and the calories. And then I'll do dinner as well really quickly. So just pause it if you want to check this out any further. I'll go over it pretty quickly here. Look at that, 100% of my calcium just in lunch. What the heck? So that was probably because of the tofu, and it might have, it's calcium set tofu, so it's probably from that. But yeah, here, check this out. So if you go down and you're like, man, where is all that calcium coming from? You can hover over it and it will show you how much, show you the highest sources of the day and how much of the, calcium is from each of those foods, which is really cool. So yeah, look at that, vitamin K, 755%. That is coming from spinach. So if you're like low on a certain one, like let's say vitamin E, you're like, man, I really want to bump that up. You click on it, you're like, oh, spinach actually has like some vitamin E in it. So does avocado. I could have had more of those to bump that up a little bit further as well. So check out this one, iron. And that's coming from the spinach as well at lunch. Anyways, let's move on. Let's check out dinner really quickly. There we go. So 700 or so calories at dinner. And again, just like smashing RDIs all over the place, just in a single meal. And people are worried they're not gonna get enough nutrition on this diet. That's pretty crazy. Anyways, let's see what I got for the whole day. And then we'll kind of, we'll look in a little bit deeper. So there we are. We already went over all the macros and stuff. I wanted to cover that early just so I didn't lose any of you. But let's go a little bit further down here and check out some other stuff. So these highlighted nutrients are really cool. It kind of shows you some really important ones. And as you can see, we're smashing RDIs here. Vitamin B12. I'm not getting any B12. Well, there might have been some in the oat milk that I was using. I'm not too sure, but it is something that I supplement with as well. And if you are, eating a plant-based diet, probably a good idea to supplement. So just something to keep in mind. I supplement vitamin B12, I also supplement vitamin D3, and I will occasionally also have the omega-3 supplement from Viva Life too. And the links for those will be in the description box down below. So you can actually put in custom values for a lot of these things, which I do have here for like my energy. I think I said I wanted to hit 2,500 calories a day, just, as a general number, and I'm close to that. But yeah, you could hit, for carbohydrates, this was always like way off the charts. Cronometer was like, whoa, man, you're eating way too many carbs. It was like always red. So I bumped that number up, and I don't know, I'm not a good mathematician. It's probably 400 or 420, something like that. But yeah, I eat a lot of carbohydrates, and with a lot of carbs comes a lot of fiber. If you hover over it, it tells you what the function of these nutrients are for. So look at that, fiber, and it tells you some good sources as well. So 65 grams of fat is a little bit more than I thought I was getting, but here we are. That's totally fine. Omega-3 to 6 ratio is one you want to try and keep in check. So I think this is a pretty good ratio. That's a 3-to-1 ratio, if my math serves me right, which is really good. If you can stay anywhere around sort of a 4-to-1, 5-to-1 and under is really good. So there will be some saturated fat. What's that from? The tofu. Very interesting. I didn't know that either, but here we are. Protein. So I'm clearly well over what I need for protein. 140 grams. You can see I have more than 100% of all the amino acids, the essential amino acids, that is. It's pretty interesting. Like, it's really easy to kind of get caught up in all the data and the numbers and stuff. And to be honest with you, I don't worry about it until I'm making a video like this. I worry about it, I think about it, but it's just second nature for me now to just eat all these good foods, supplement with B12, D3, and make sure I get in a lot of omegas. And if I'm not, then have an omega supplement as well. So as we move over to the right side and we go down the vitamins, you can see that I'm doing pretty well, but there's a couple here that are very close to zero, if not at zero, and we will talk about those. So again, B12 covered in a supplement, biotin. What's interesting about this is I have eaten a lot of biotin this day, and I'm sure I have. However, you can see that they don't have a lot of data on the amount of biotin in foods in the Cronometer database. Again, not something I worry about. Not something I feel like I'm deficient in. Choline, didn't quite hit my RDI of choline. Could have had some more lentils, tofu, bananas even have some choline, spinach. But again, I'm not too worried. It's more about what happens, at the end of the week. So I'm probably going to be eating some foods tomorrow or the next day. That's going to make up for that. Vitamin A, 1,000% of your RDI vitamin A. So this is a big one. But people worry about the conversion of vitamin A or of beta carotene to the preformed vitamin A, retinol. And when you're getting 1,000%, I'm pretty sure that I'm hitting my RDI. But the conversion rates do vary between person to person, so just keep that in mind. Vitamin C, off the charts there. Vitamin D, didn't get very much. What was that from? The oat milk, so supplemented. But as I mentioned, I do supplement that usually 4,000 to 5,000 IUs. It's not necessarily how much you should take, but it is how much I'm taking. Vitamin E, I didn't hit my total of, but yeah, looks like there's a good amount of vitamin E in both spinach and in mangoes too, and avocados. So I could have had more of all those foods and hit my RDI. Vitamin K, off the charts there. Again, 100% of all these. However, you will notice here that iodine is not listed, and that's because they just don't have reliable information on that. The amount of iodine that's in your food is like totally dependent on what is in the soil. So I'll go down and just show you quickly, some of the sources of calcium: tofu, oat milk, spinach, bok choy is up there as well. So iron, look at that, 450% of my RDI of iron. So if you're a female who's worried about it, or an athlete and you want to get lots of iron, man, lentils, spinach, tofu, Silver Hills, sprouted grain bread, all your friends. Zinc is another one that people seem to worry about that they're not going to get enough of on a plant-based diet. So here's some good sources. We got lentils, that's sprouted grain bread, tofu, spinach. So I think that's probably it. I mean, I could really dive into a lot here, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of information and tell you about Cronometer because I always get so many questions on that. Yeah, hope this video gave you guys some insight. Hopefully it eased some of your maybe worries about carbohydrates and protein and all that sort of stuff. It's not something that I necessarily worry about. Get a couple high protein sources in throughout the day, eat enough calories from a variety of plant foods. You're for sure gonna get enough protein. Push really hard in the gym, keep making progress, you're gonna make gains. And yeah, just eat primarily whole foods. And as you can see, you can get more than 100% of your RDI. So if you have any questions on this video, definitely leave them in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. It helps me out so much. It's so easy for you guys. It means so much to me, guys. Thank you. And subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you soon with another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.